Good day, everyone. So, this will be another journey of learning in English for academic purposes and professionals. Our topic for today is concept paper. Now, let's move on the definition of what concept paper is. Prior to the submission of the project proposal, proponents are requested to submit a summary of what the project is all about, the reasons for conducting the project, and how it will be carried out. This summary document is called a concept paper. A concept paper provides an overview of the project and it helps funding agencies eliminate proposals that are likely to be disapproved. Hence, it helps save time and effort for both the proponents and the funding agencies. Meaning to say, concept papers are summaries of projects or issues that reflect the interest, experience, and expertise of the writer or organization. Concept papers generally serve the purpose of providing in-depth discussion of the topic that the writer has strong position on, usually with the intent of obtaining funding for the project from donors. The terms concept paper and proposal are often used interchangeably as they can be used for same function. The concept paper may also be used as an instructional tool that may be have developed as a result of the extensive research committee input or a result of the outcome of the current project. In addition to providing guidance for implementation of the program, a concept paper could also discuss best practices, philosophies, and other related issues, and the writer believes action should be taken on the near future. Let's move on in the uses of the concept paper. First, it serves as a foundation of the full proposal. Me as a student, as a graduate student rather, essentially concept paper acts as a tentative proposal. It allows the doctoral student the opportunity to define a research focus and obtain early feedback on the research idea. A well-planned concept paper will capture the interest of the dissertation committee and establish a clear plan for the student's dissertation. Just like you are writing your practical research too, then of course you are being required to give your in-depth analysis or a proposal of your intended research. Second, it helps determine whether certain project is feasible or not. Well, definitely it provides a preliminary view of the questions the student will investigate whether it would be attainable or not. So you will be using questions which are based on theory, past research, and need. And of course, these questions will direct the research methodology. Their inclusion in the concept paper links the research methodology. For some, composing the research question may be the most difficult part of the research project, or possibly the most difficult aspect of writing the concept paper. So these questions are necessary for you to be able to acquire the intention of your study or your research. So this research question will specifically direct the research and the type of analysis conducted as such as their compatibility is essential. And of course, the third one, it is choose to pick the interest of the potential funding agency. Well, it gives them the idea whether to pursue or not the research. Then, if it is being suggested or it has been approved, then they do something to fund or to give funding for the continuation of this research. It is used to obtain informal feedback on ideas prior to the preparing the full proposal. Well, the concept paper will be read by your lecturer or supervisor who will be tasked to determine the suitability of the research project you want to undertake. If you are, let's say for example, me as a teacher, well, of course, it will be um, shown or presented to the supervisor, or let's say for example to the supervisor or principal. Then they will try to determine whether it should be undertaken. So based on their analysis and the prowess in convincing them that it's worthy and helpful research project, they will either give me the go ahead to carry on with the project. So suggest similar alternative topics that I can focus on, or tell me to come up with another project altogether. So these are the uses of concept paper. Now, let's move ways in explaining a concept paper. We have here a definition. It is a method of identifying a given term and making its meaning clearer. Its main purpose is to clarify and explain concepts, ideas, and issues by answering the question, what does it mean? This mode of explanation contains the terms to be defined and the detailed exposition of the term through the use of illustration, examples, and description. So, meaning to say, when writers are trying to explain an unfamiliar idea, so they rely on definitions. So all definitions attempt to explain or clarify a term. And there are three ways in doing the definition. First, we have here the formal definition or a formal definition. It explains a term by incorporating the term to be defined species, the general category of the term, and the quality that makes the term different from other terms in the same category. So example, vitamin E is a light yellow, fats, soluble vitamins that acts as an antioxidant. So as you can see, there is a vivid formal definition of the term vitamin E. So we need to say the formal definition consists of three parts: the term, the parts of the speech to which it belongs, such as a noun or a verb, and all the traits or characteristics that are specific to that term. The dictionary is filled with formal definitions, but it's not the only place where you will find them. Writers often include formal definition when they are writing about something that may be unfamiliar to their readers. In textbooks, you might find the formal definition of terms listed at the beginning, at the end of the chapter, or in the glossary, which is the mini dictionary of terms relevant to the text. Let's say, for example, the term to be defined is the word freedom. So, what part of the speech is that? Well, definitely it is a noun, right? And then the definition that you could give out of the word freedom, it's like this: the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. So that is the formal definition of the term freedom. Now let's proceed with the next one. We have here an informal definition. It is done through a parenthetical or brief explanation, meaning to say the writer uses known words or example to explain the unknown term. These definitions may be synonyms or antonyms introduced by or, in other words, or like. Let's say, for example, here, tocopherol, that is vitamin E, is naturally found in vegetable oil, fish, and nuts. So that is informal because, as you can see, it gives the definition and to where we can get the vitamin E, right? And then another one we have here, extended definition. It is detailed way of defining a term and it is usually composed of at least one paragraph. So this is the type of definition incorporates a various pattern of development. So meaning to say it suggests that um, extended definition generally have components of both informal and the formal definitions. However, as the name suggests, the author uses number of other techniques to define words, concept, or phrase, including, so for example, etymology of the word. When we talk about etymology, that is the origin of the word. Where does the word came from? Is it obsolete or is it something old term or definition, something like that. So other thing, it could be in the formal and informal definition, comparison and contrast, narration, description, functional analysis, process, analogy, cause and effect. So those are some of the example when it comes to extended definition. So example, subsequent to maternal design is the preparation of learning materials. Learning materials refer to both printed and non-printed objects or terms that teachers and learners use to facilitate language learning. Nowadays, materials are becoming more and more sophisticated, incorporating authentic language samples and realities that help make a connection between classroom and real life activities. They also incorporate information and communication technology, role plays, information gap, activities, songs, tape, transcript, integrated macro skills, and explicit rubrics. So as you can see in the given example, the writer here used the formal and informal definition as well as the narration form and the description. So as you can see, we can use the different ways on how we could do the extended definition. So these are some examples or signal words for definition. So we have here as defined as, for example, for instance, is defined as means such as to define and to illustrate. So those are some of the examples of the signal words that you may use in having or using the definition um, way of having the concept paper. The second one we have here, explication. When we talk about explication, this is a method of explanation in which sentences, verses, quotes, or passages are taken from literary or academic work and then interpreted and explained in a detailed way. When using this technique, you need to clearly present your thesis in the introduction and follow it up with a detailed analysis of the passage or text. You may begin the body of the explication by analyzing and explaining how the text was constructed. Your explication should end with a concise conclusion by restating your thesis and a major arguments. So simply, when we talk about explication, it is a literary technique in criticism and research used for close analysis of the excerpt or text taken from lengthy piece of work. So it originates from the French word explication, the text meaning explanation of the text. It is neither a summary, nor a rewording, nor a paraphrase, but a commentary that reveals the meanings of the literary work. Take it from the word commentary. It usually tells about figures of speech, tone, setting, connotation, points of view, themes, contrast, and anything else that could add to the meaning of the text. So that is explication. All right, so it could be, for example, um, it could be the commentary from a certain novel. Let's say, for example, I will be doing the commentary of the novel Soledad Sisters. Okay, well, of course, I have to read it first before I could do um, the explication concept paper about this novel. And then let me use the example. The let's say, for example, justice is a broad concept which encompasses a wide set of ideas, most of which also branch out into similar notion. So, for instance, it can refer to sentencing of criminal based on due process when individual gets what he deserves outside the hands of the law. It is also considered justice in some contexts. Right? Now, these are some signal words for clarification. We have the word the phrases after all. As an example, consider the following. For example, for instance, in other words, in particular, in short, namely, put another way, specifically, stated differently, that is, to be specific, to clarify, and to illustrate. So if you are tend to use the clarification, well, you may use the following signal words for the development of your concept paper. Also, we have here the two kinds of concept. First one, we have here implicit. Implicit is implied or understood, though not plainly or directly expressed. Something is therefore implicit when it's not directly stated but is either suggested in the wording or necessary to effectuate the purpose. So, meaning to say, implicit concept related to what psychologists call prototypes. Its purpose is to store causal information which traditional prototype theories leave out. And because a lot of traditional prototype theories are formulated in which the recommended they recommend they contain that recommend that contain explicit information, and then the implicit explain one rage phenomena. The term implicit is used to express something indirectly or implied. So indirectly or implied. This means that the scenario under consideration has not been stated. Something is explicit when people cannot understand it because it is not directly stated. So that is explicit, but it's either suggested in the wording. Sentence example. Let's say, for example, he implicitly said he likes yellow trousers by saying she loves all colors but why? So, as you can see in the sentence, the man states that he likes the trouser colors, but why? Well, he does not directly say he loves yellow trousers. He implicitly does because yellow is not white. Another example here, technology causes horrors in some aspects. So that is implied only. And then when we talk about explicit, to fully and clearly express something, leaving nothing implied. Something is explicit when it is clearly stated and spelled out, and there's no room for confusion as the writing of the contract or statute. So it may include statistical and casual information, but more significantly, they may encode syntactic information, definitional information, and no matter what is needed for the language faculty to process them. So explicit concepts are essential for explicit cognition, the distinctive human ability to use language, represent unobservable, non-existent abstract, So simply the explicit concept explains a separate range of phenomena. Okay? So in short, explicit is used to define a situation that has been thoroughly elaborated and expressed with without leaving anything untouched. Something is said to be explicit when there is no room for confusion because it is well detailed when performing a specific task. All right? So, those are the things about the concept paper. That's all for now. Have a great day.